We live in a world of titles. And where I come from, there are three categories of people you don't want to mess up with their titles. The first is those in the academy. The moment somebody enrolls for a terminal degree program, immediately they start calling that person doc. The second category of people you don't want to mess up with their titles, those in the military. Because of the strong command system, most often those in the military or the security forces, they address them using their rank. And sometimes if a civilian even address them without using that rank, it becomes problematic. The third category of people you don't want to dare them by not using their title is a young generation of preachers, young preachers. I remember earlier on in my Christian faith, when I just accepted Christ as personal Lord and Savior, we were thrilled by some great names like Billy Graham, Charles Wesley, Charles Finney, Jonathan Edwards, and we were thrilled by them not because of the kind of titles that they really had, but the kind of impact that they created in their world. So today I want to talk on 5 principles concerning titles. The first of my 5 principles is that titles are not synonymous to impact. You can have a great title, many of such titles, but have little or no impact. What really matters is the kind of impact that you are creating in your environment, in your community, in your organization, or where you find yourself. That is what really matters. What kind of impact am I creating? What kind of impact are you creating? Not what kind of title do you have. The second of my 5 points is that sometimes titles can become a cap or a limitation to people's true potential or growth. Because once you have given yourself a certain title, it stops you from humbling yourself and listening and learning from others. Especially those titles that you just give yourself without going through any board or any institution to get them. Once you just start calling yourself a certain title, it really becomes a challenge because it's like you have arrived and you can't listen to anyone. So you can't sit down to ask questions and listen from others who have gone ahead of you. The third of my 5 points is that most often people who project titles are insecure about themselves and they want to use titles as a means to cover up their insecurity. So they force their titles on everyone, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4 titles. Don't you know my title? Why are you calling me without using my title? So they use those titles as a matter of fact to cover their insecurity. And again, there are people who use titles just to manipulate young minds. And these days, the pulpit has become a place of self-projection, not a place for servanthood, a place of service, a place of humility. Fourth of my 5 points about title is that never take a title that is bigger than your productivity. Don't go looking for a high-sounding title. Meanwhile, you cannot produce, you cannot back up that title. Don't go acquiring titles as a means of just projecting yourself on people. Let people see what you are doing. As a matter of fact, there are some people that have received honorary titles from universities. You call them doctors, not because they went to those institutions, but because of their accomplishment in their communities, in their society. These institutions look at them and say that you have achieved this much, we think you should be called a doctor. Let people recognize what you have done. Let people see what you have done. Let your output speak for you. Don't project yourself. Don't force titles upon yourself. Meanwhile, you can back up those titles with your productivity. The last or the fifth point about titles is that focus on the assignment and not on the titles, the accolades. What were you created to do? What were you born to accomplish? There's specific things you were born to accomplish. Focus on finding what you were born to do. Engage your resources, your time, your skills, your talent, your network to fulfill that assignment. Because at the end of the day, it's not how what title you give yourself that really matters, not even what people call you. No, God will not say, we're titled. He will simply say, we're done. So these are my 5 points about titles, and I hope you will focus on creating impact rather than on taking titles. God bless you.